Perfectionism is really just this insane obsession with avoiding judgment. Why? Because judgment leads to shame, and shame is one of those feelings that is yucky to feel. But let me tell you what, the day that you get comfortable sitting with your shame and facing it dead on and feeling it in your body and releasing it through crying, talking, journaling, slamming medicine balls, twerking, whatever your method is, you become unstoppable. Hey babe, I'm Brooke Jean, licensed therapist, coach, mama, and your straight talking guide to ditching the pressure and living a life unperfected. I've coached some of the top C-suite women in America, women leading billion-dollar companies while secretly falling apart. I've been her. I blend psychology, neuroscience, and energetics with lived experience to help high-achieving women actually heal so that they can access their infinite energy, creativity, and vitality. If you're a perfection-obsessed woman who's checked every damn box, career, family, house, 401k, but still feels low-key dead inside, you're in the right place. Here, we rip off the good girl mask, call out the BS, and build a life that actually feels like yours. We talk healing, we talk revealing, we talk rising, and we do it raw, real, and unfiltered. This is the Unperfected Pod. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod. I'm Brooke Jean, your host, and I am so happy and grateful that you are here. You guys, I was just having a dance party for one, like your girl does. And that's why I'm out of breath, to the one and the only K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack. Now, whose daughters, sons, children are losing their ever-loving mind right now with the K-pop Demon Hunters? Because it has swooped into my home, honey, and it has not only grabbed my daughter and her bestie, but I will tell you that that soundtrack is catchy. My little soda pop. I was literally, this is such a fun stage of parenting where my daughter's musical interests and mine can in some areas coexist, and we can just like jam, and she's singing her heart out, she is rapping her heart out, I am too, we're dancing, and we just have this moment in the car where we look at each other and I'm like, look baby, aren't I cool, aren't I cool? Anyways, you guys, this last week was such a busy and beautiful week in our home. First of all, my daughter turned 8. She had what was her party, guys? It was a gymnastics slash, what was her cake? Descendants slash outdoor water party. So the days of having one theme, honey, I don't know if it's my child or if that's just a dead trend, but we have a 14 theme. Oh, we also had like disco dance party, but it's really just all the things that my daughter loves. And she just invited a few friends over. Camden came. It was absolutely delightful to see my daughter squeal and dance and jump and do her gymnastics tricks. So fun. And of course, I planned my free masterclass Liberation and the launch of my new program Legend in the same week, while we were also coming home from a family vacation in Steamboat. Why? Well, because I guess I didn't put all those pieces together, which is really cool, but it was extraordinary nonetheless. I definitely took half a day to just rest and veg yesterday, Monday, coming out of the birthday weekend. And I just am feeling so full between work and family and just all the pieces. So we have a lot going on over here. Y'all, the doors are open to Legend, my brand new program, Extraordinary Life Unperfected. This is a 16-week reckoning with your perfectionism, the pressure, and the lie that you've told yourself you have to perform and hold it all together to be worthy. This group program is for the high-achieving woman who looks like she has it all together, but inside, she's spiraling. Her mind is loud. Her nervous system is fried. She can't stop second guessing herself or wondering if she's missing the whole damn point. She's doing everything and she's not feeling any of it. Legend, Extraordinary Life Unperfected is not just another mindset course or self-help circle. It's a 16-week unlearning of who you were taught to be so you can finally remember who you actually are. You'll stop living in your head and start living in your body. You'll learn how to drop the guilt, feel the joy, say the thing, raise the price, dance in your kitchen, and freaking mean it. You'll go from, am I doing it right? To, this is exactly where I'm meant to be. Oh, and you'll do it all without the pressure to be perfect because you were never meant to be flawless. You were meant to be free. And y'all, this program has 2 tiers. So if you come in for the group, it's a 16-week. We meet every week. I put you through the Unperfected method, heal, reveal, and rise. This is where you remember who the F you are and why you're here and what you want. And then you get the support to start taking action to create a life that you actually love. And then if you want the upgrade, we have the VIP mastermind where you will get the same group, the same 16 weeks of connecting, and you will get 3 additional mastermind calls with me. So anything business and leadership and energetics. And you will get a one-to-one call with me, and you get a ticket to the 1-day retreat that is all about you investing in you. And guys, I have made this program so transformative and yet affordable. So the entry level program is just $2,222, and you can pay in full, or you can pay up to a 12-month payment plan. You guys, that is literally $185 a month to join a life-changing program. If you want the upgrade, you want the VIP, you want the mastermind, you want my support in helping you launch, grow, scale your business, shift your leadership style, shift your relationships, set your boundaries, whatever it is, and the 1-day retreat and the 1-day or the 1 session with me, that is $5,555, which you can either pay in full or you can pay up to a 12-month payment plan, which is $463 a month. You guys, that's cheaper than 4 therapy sessions. And the transformations that these women get in my group containers are absolutely wild. People are freaking out and obsessed with the Legend branding. Do you know who did the Legend branding? A queen in my last mastermind who decided to totally pivot careers, going from a therapist to a branding manager. And she was like, can I do the branding for your container? Because it's epic and people need to know, more and more women need to know about this. So the more that women come home to the truth of who they are, the more they make money moves in their lives that bring joy, fulfillment, abundance, aliveness. So the queen that did the branding that y'all are obsessed with, literally, I'm like her first client, you guys. So if you're at a crossroads in your life and you're like, I don't know if I'm living my life on my terms. I don't know if this is the work that I want to be doing. I don't know how to make my relationship better. I don't know if you're like, I have done all the things, but I don't know if this is where I'm meant to be. Get your fanny in this container. We will hold you. We will hear together. We will heal together. We will reveal the truth of who we are, and we will rise in that truth. And you will make moves in your life that yield you the aliveness and fulfillment that you want. So doors are open. We start the last Wednesday in August. I think it's the 26th or something like that. And so the link is in the show notes. Secure your spot because I will be capping that group at 10. So anyways, let's get into today's topic, which is what disconnects women from the truth in the first place. Okay. So I'm 44 years old. And I tend to work with middle aged women who have done all the things that society promised them would deem success and happiness. Maybe they've gone to college, they've met their mate, they got married, they had the kids, they bought the house, they take the vacations, they're climbing the corporate ladder, or they're doing all the things that they're supposed to do in their business. And yet, da da da, something's missing. They're deeply unfulfilled. They're dissatisfied. They're literally asking, is this it? Like, is this the peak of my life? Like, this is what I've worked my entire life for? And some of you may even be breaking down like I was at 33 when I was living a dream that wasn't mine. Maybe you find yourself crying in your closet or eating, drinking, and spending or distracting or procrastinating. And you're just wondering, like, I have everything that I was supposed to have to make me happy, and yet I'm not. And so, what is wrong with me? Here's what I want to tell you: there's actually nothing wrong with you. You're just not living in your truth, your full effing truth. And when we are not living in our truth, we are first of all weakening our frequency and our energetic expression. We are to some degrees pretending. Okay, that bites us in the butt. We are putting up with things we don't want to put up with anymore. We are overextending and overgiving in areas that don't light us up. And guess what? That all comes back to bite us in the butt. And it then bubbles up as anxiety. It then bubbles up as resentment. It then bubbles up as all sorts of these issues that middle-aged women are experiencing. It's like, is it perimenopause, or are you just done with everybody's BS? Is it perimenopause, or are you just literally no longer gonna do the things you don't want to do? Listen, perimenopause is a very real thing. But I also do not think it's a coincidence that it's happening at the same time as women are just kind of done. We're done spending energy in places that it's not reciprocated. We're done overgiving and oversharing and overshowing up from a dry vessel. And it's making us sick. So, how do we fall into this trap in the first place where we begin disconnecting from our truth? And the one piece of this puzzle, because it's a puzzle, and we do go through the whole puzzle in my programs and in my experiences, but a really big piece that I want to name and normalize and tackle with you today is this: fear of other people's opinions. That's right. We don't do what we really want to do in this one wild and precious life because we are afraid of what other people think. Did you know that perfectionism, it's not even about being perfect. It's about avoiding judgment from others, because perfect is ambiguous. Like, it's a moving target. Like, what does it even mean to be a perfect mom? It's, I don't want to be judged by my mother. I don't want to be judged by my mother-in-law. I don't want to be judged by my neighbors. I don't want to be judged by my kids' teachers. Perfectionism is really just this insane obsession with avoiding judgment. Why? Because judgment leads to shame, and shame is one of those feelings that is yucky to feel. But let me tell you what, the day that you get comfortable sitting with your shame and facing it dead on and feeling it in your body and releasing it through crying, talking, journaling, slamming medicine balls, twerking, whatever your method is, you become unstoppable. But the reason that we begin disconnecting from our truth is based on what other people think. And it starts when we're just 7 or 8 years old, right? When we're a child, we're going through life and we're just in a purest, like just the purest expression of who we are. We're silly. We're emotional. We ask questions like, Mom, why is your butt so big? Why are our children truth tellers, right? Mom, why is your butt so big? This is a question Chloe asked me a while ago. We have our imaginary friends. We love to be in our imagination. We love to dress up. We have no qualms, honey, going to Walmart in an Elsa dress that's way too small with two different slippers on and a legit dreadlock in the back of our hair. When you're 6, you don't give an F, honey. You are not concerned. You will throw a full on melt down in the middle of a restaurant and you think that you care what the neighbors have to say in the booth next to you or what the server. There are no F's to give until we become 7 or 8 and we become aware of other people's perceptions of us. Okay, I learned about this in human growth and development. This is a real psychological phenomenon. We wake up and we realize, oh, Johnny might not think that's cool. Susie might think that's annoying. So-and-so might think that's lame. And the second we become aware of other people's perceptions and judgments, we start to stuff down our authenticity. So I don't remember what training I was creating where I was doing research about this, but I was doing research on how human beings are innately creative. We come like pregnancy and childbirth, the process in and of itself is a creative process, right? And so we actually come out as creative beings. And when do we stop drawing? When do we stop creating? 7 or 8 years old. Why? Because of what your classmates will say, what your teacher will say, what your parents will say, what your coach will say. And so at the precious age of 7 or 8, we start going, ooh, that part about me that's really silly, I need to tuck that away. That might be annoying. That art that I did, that wasn't good enough. I guess I'm not an artist. That talent show that I did where, I misstepped, that means I'm not a dancer. And we start putting away our gifts and we start stuffing our truth because now it matters what other people think. And guys, this isn't like an ego thing or a vain thing. This is like a survival thing. Like if the group doesn't like me and accept me and I'm kicked out, what does that mean? If I have no friends, how do I survive school? Like you have to go back in evolution and look at like, dude, in the caveman and cavewoman days, if you actually got kicked out of your group, you were going to be eaten. You were vulnerable, honey. So that does still exist in today's world. If I'm kicked out of the group, if I'm not socially accepted, I'm vulnerable. And so we begin to shapeshift. And instead of fully expressing and embodying the truth of who we are, we start deciding what's cool and what's popular and what fits in. And we begin to shapeshift to become these things. And then you layer onto that conditioning, which is all the messages that your precious little being is receiving through, the adult figures in your life and social media and advertisements and all the images that you're seeing of like what a girl is supposed to look and behave like, what a good mom is supposed to look and behave like, what a whatever. And we're smart beings. We go, oh, that's what I'm supposed to look like. That's how I'm supposed to sound. And then as we grow up, these narratives get perpetuated. You get told good girl when you sit down and listen, not when you express. You get special recognition when you win the race, not just when you participate. You get promoted when you do a good job. And now some of this is fine, you guys. Some of this is, I do believe in rewarding good effort and rewarding work. I believe in rewarding. But I think we have to be careful of how we're rewarding. I like to reward my daughter's effort and her intention. Instead of saying that's a perfect picture you drew, I'll say, I love that you sat down and you poured your heart on that page and the effort and the intention you put into that, girl, delicious. And so this feedback that we end up getting from our teachers and coaches and bosses and spiritual leaders and all the things, grandmas, grandpas, aunts, uncles, cousins, classmates, the feedback that we get perpetuates these narratives. And the further we get from our truth. Now, we do like we have to have some boundaries in classrooms. We have to have some boundaries in our homes. If it's just balls to the wall, freedom of expression 24/7, I'm gonna lose my mind. And my mental health does matter. And so, yeah, there are times and places where I'm like, guys, if you want to scream at the top of your lungs, please go do that outside, because mommy thinks that there's a damn bear in the house and I get triggered and then I can't be cool mommy. So it is okay to like set boundaries, but I also love to explain the why. I'm not like, be quiet. I'm like, hey guys, I love that you're playing and I love that you're screaming. Mommy doesn't see it coming. And so I literally think there's something scary in the house. If we really want to be loud and noisy, let's go outside or in the basement so mommy doesn't think there's a bear in the house, because then my nervous system goes blah, and nobody wants that. Right? So we start disconnecting from our truth the minute we realize that other people have a perception or a judgment about us. And then you slap on conditioning and we start becoming what we think is socially acceptable, what is socially digestible, what is popular, what is attractive. What do the boys like? What do the girls like? What gets me the attention from my coach? What gets me the attention from my dad? And the more we shapeshift and become what we think the world wants us to be, a lot of the times we start to abandon who we really are. And for women in particular, like our emotionality, it can feel like a lot, but it's also our superpower when we learn to harness it. But we don't learn to harness it because it gets shut down. Be quiet. Go cry in your room. The more comfortable we can be with our own feelings, the more we have a bigger window of tolerance for our children's feelings, the more we can teach them to ride the waves of their feelings, the more they're like, the better off they are to figuring out how to leverage their feelings as truth guides. So this is why we're so confused. Our feelings tell us if this is a yes and this is a no, but if we've been shoving our feelings down and disconnecting from our bodies since we were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12, we've discredited a compass inside of us that guides us to what's for us and what's not. And then we wonder why we're eating foods that are not good for us and getting into relationships that are not good for us and getting into toxic work environments that are not good for us and blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Our emotions will tell us. But when we learn how to harness them appropriately. So this is huge because, when women come to me and they're like, I'm deeply unfulfilled, I'm like, well, are you living in alignment? And they're like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, it means living from the truth. And they're like, I have no idea what my truth is. And I'm like, well, let's get busy remembering your truth. And then from the remembering of your truth, let's get busy setting boundaries and starting things up and starting to do things in little doses. Honey, we only titrate around here, where you begin creating a life that is in alignment with your truth. A lot of times, you guys, your anxiety is just telling you that you're disconnected from your truth in some aspect of your life. Your anxiety is telling you, we are not meant to be here. We are not meant to be there. We are meant to be doing this. We are not meant to be being that. We are meant to be being this, but we've stopped listening. And so a huge part of the unperfected method is to heal so that we can actually hear our truth. And the answers are not outside of you, my love. Whether or not you want to change your hair or your style or your career or your offer or your relationship status or where you live or where your kids go to school or what food you eat or what your exercise regimen is or who your mentor should be and who your coach should be, all of those answers are not outside of you. They're buried inside underneath a lifetime of other people's expectations, perceptions, and judgments. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? And a lot of times, guys, we're just going through the motions unconsciously and we don't even know we're doing it. Like, I just went to college and then I got my career at Target and then I climbed the corporate ladder and then I bought the house and then I got the 529 and the 401k and went on the vacations and then I got married. Like, I did all the things. And if you would have asked me back then, are these things you really want? I would have said yes. But now it would come with a subtitle that said, because this is what a good girl, good mother, good wife, good woman is supposed to do, right? Underneath it would have come a subtitle that said, because this is the responsible thing to do, right? Underneath it would be the subtext that said, this will make me lovable, right? And so what begins to become available for you when you start living for your heart, for your dreams, for your desires, instead of living to avoid judgment? What would you allow your body to feel? What sort of pleasure would you get into? What sort of work would you do? How would you do it? What kind of leader would you be? What would your style be? What would your routines be? Where would you live? What would your habits be? How would you hang out with your kids and your partner? Where would you travel? What would you do different in your life if you were literally leading from your truth? And now some people get fear confused with their truth. And so that's why this is like a process. It's a process of peeling back the layers of conditioning and judgment and expectations and starting to heal your relationship with your body so that your body can start to give you its wisdom. So many of us have been at war with our bodies for so long that the body stopped giving us the wisdom because it's so wise. It just knew you're not going to do anything with it anyway. So I'm not going to tell you that this is the wrong thing for you. I'm not going to nudge you toward what is the best next thing for you. You're not going to listen. So as you begin to peel the layers of conditioning and you heal your nervous system, you start to open up your channels of communication to your inner guidance system, your intuition, your heart, your divine portal of creation. And the more grounded we are and resourced we are and open we are, the more we also then connect to the divine guidance that's available outside of us, if that's what you believe in. But we don't also, guys, have to turn our whole worlds upside down. It's like, okay, so I've done all the things. I've got the husband, I've got the job, I've got the kids, we've got the thing, blah, 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 and I'm not happy. And now I don't know what to do about it. And I seem really far down this rabbit hole. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just blow it all up. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to ask for a divorce. I'm going to go to Mexico for 60 days. Guys, we don't have to do that. I don't recommend you do that. Your nervous system is going to freak out. What I recommend you do is get your fanny into my program and give yourself a safe space alongside other brave sisters to explore these deep existential questions like, who am I now at this juncture of my life? What do I desire now? What do I want my marriage to be or my relationship status to be now? What kind of work lights me up today? What kind of movement makes me feel sexy and strong today? What kind of food is nourishing? What kind of, social interactions? And then you start to, in baby steps, say yes to more things that light you up, say no to more things that don't. And you carefully curate a life that's more comfortable for you to live in. And then in 6 months from now, you look around and you go, oh my God, I feel different. I feel more spaciousness. I feel more freedom. I feel more aliveness. I feel more joy because I'm carefully curating my life. It will not happen for you, baby. You've got to co-create your own reality. One decision, one intention, one breath, one thought, one feeling, one action at a time. But if you were to take a baby step a day, every single day for 6 months, you'd look around and go, there's some things that are different in my life. My relationships are better. My health is stronger. I'm more passionate about my work. I'm more proud of who I am. I'm more in my integrity. And here's the coolest part. When you are in your integrity, when you are living from your truth, when you are fully embodied in your authenticity, you become an energetic match for what you desire. Inauthenticity is low frequency, low vibe, low energy. The more you allow yourself to be who you are, the more that you open your heart, the more that you connect to your gifts, the more that you bring them out into the world, you raise your frequency. And you will then resonate with people, places, things, and opportunities that also are vibrating at that same frequency. So if you found yourself in a group of people that you no longer fit in with anymore, it's like, well, yeah, you've changed your frequency. Or if you found yourself doing work that no longer lights you up, yeah, you changed your frequency. And let's normalize women changing their minds. Let's normalize women changing their minds. Well, I decided I wanted to do this, but now I want to do that. Not from a place of fear, though, my loves. Not from a place of fear, good girl conditioning, perfectionism, heart and intuition. You get to decide, well, I wanted to do this and now I'm doing that. Well, I wanted to have date nights here. Now I want to do them here. Well, I didn't want to travel. Now I do. Well, I didn't want to live in here. Now I do. Let's normalize that we get to grow alongside everyone else that we're supporting in their growth. I'm going to say that again. Let me adjust my glasses. You, mama, you get to grow at the same pace as the growth that you support in your people. Your kids, you support their growth. Your partner, you support their growth. Your team, you support their growth. You support everyone else's growth. But then if you want to change your mind and go after something you want, you shame yourself. And you tell yourself that's terribly inconvenient and I can't and I shouldn't. We're not doing that anymore because that way of being is why we're burnt out. That way of being is why we're depressed and anxious. That way of being is why we're resentful. That way of being is why we have no energy. Yeah. Is it a shocker that you have no energy to do a bunch of shit you don't want to do? No. But what if you got to get up and you got to go in your backyard and do a gorgeous meditation and breath work and stretch in the sun? Then you got to take your kids to school and then you got to do work that you're obsessed with. Guys, my work brings me energy. Do I bring energy to my work? You bet. But there are days when I wake up and I'm just like, whoa, where'd the energy go? And I still go through my morning ritual and I still take care of myself and I meet myself tenderly. I go slow. And then I sit down with my first client of the day and guess who comes to life? Your girl. Because I love this work. I love laughing and dancing with my kids. I love being outside. I love giving a shit about helping women remember who they are. I love seeing live music with my husband. I love dancing and doing yoga and doing long walks with my ankle weights around the neighborhood. And so when my days are full of things that I love, does that help my energy? Yeah. Does that help my depression? Yeah. And that's not to say that there's not going to be things on our calendar that we don't love, that we still have to do. Yes, we still have to do those things. But I want you to take a look at your life right now. Are you doing mostly things you don't want to do with a couple of things you do sprinkled in? Or are you living a life where you're doing mostly things you want to do with a couple of things you don't sprinkled in? Legend is a container where I help you build your lifeboat, where it's mostly things you want and some sprinkled in that you don't. And you see what happens to your energy, to your mental health, to your emotional health, to your vibrance, to your vitality when you start creating your life in this way, baby. But we've all fallen into the trap. We have all disconnected from truths about ourselves and who we are and what our gifts are and what we want because of other people's judgments. We've all fallen into that trap at some point in our life. So you are not weak. There is nothing wrong with you. We have all done it. I still fall into that trap, you guys. Standing in your truth is a never-ending story. It's a never-ending intention and commitment. I still fall into, this is what good moms should be doing, so I should do this. And then I zoom out and I take a breath and I go, okay, let's set the should down. Is this something that I want to do and I want to bring my whole heart to? I do want to go to the Cam's concert. I do want to go to back to school night. I do want to have a party for Chloe. I do want to launch a group program for my business. I do want to go to date night Mexican last night with my husband. I do want to go to Steamboat with this family. I do. Right? So we've all fallen into the trap of starting to abandon the truth of who we are so that we can fit in and be safe and be lovable and be digestible. But it's also what's making us sick. And so I take this very seriously because the more that you come home to yourself and the more that you heal and the more that you reveal about who you are, what your gifts are, and what you really want, and then start living in alignment with that, baby, that's when things start to get really good. So listen, just take an honest assessment. Am I doing mostly things that I love with some things sprinkled in? Or am I doing mostly things that I don't love with some things sprinkled in? And meet yourself with non-judgmental curiosity. And if you're ready to make some changes in your life that are going to profoundly impact your mind, body, and spirit, then get your fanny into Legend. Okay, we start the last Wednesday of August. I would love to have you in there. The links are below. Book a call with me, sign up. What's possible globally when women remember who they are and what they want and start living in alignment with their truth? I want you to contemplate that nugget. What becomes possible? What becomes possible in your family when you start driving things from a place of joy and what you desire? What becomes available for your business or your team when you start making decisions in alignment with what tickles you frickin' pink and makes you stoked to come to work every day? What happens in your marriage when you start bringing in this energy? You guys, this is how we change our lives. This is one of the ways that we change our lives. So I love you so much. I hope there's something in this discussion today that you can put into your back pocket and weave it into your world. Get your fanny into Legend and take care of yourselves and therefore each other. Bye for now. Hey, boo, if you made it this far, I know you're serious about healing, revealing, and rising, living a life unperfected. Just by showing up, you're telling the universe, I matter, I'm ready. So don't be surprised if things start shifting in your favor. If this episode moved you, do me a favor, rate and review the podcast on Apple or Spotify. It helps us reach more high-achieving, high-performing women who are ready to stop pretending and start living. And if something really landed, DM me on Instagram at BrookeJeanUnperfected or share a clip and tag me. I want to see what's moving through you. And hey, don't forget, you can watch this episode on YouTube and join my brand new VidMe membership for exclusive content, coaching, and community for only $35 a month. We're not just talking about rising, we're doing it together.